Country Talk Radio. You're in to all things music.
This is Going to Get Loud, the working musician's ultimate guide to striking a new path through today's music industry. With your host, Paul Nicholas.
All right, welcome everybody. It's going to get loud today. I'm Paul Nicholas. We've got my buddy DJ Vlad here. I call him DJ Vlad. Thanks for being on the show today. How you doing?
My pleasure. Everything's good. How are you?
Good. So today we're going to be talking to, we're always talking to emerging artists, but we're chatting today about digital media, branding, marketing, that kind of thing. And so you're a guru in those areas. DJ Vlad is not only an avid musician, but works at a very large global news company with a very good reputation. So he's a guru on these kinds of things. DJ Vlad, tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. I have been listening to music for. I'm sorry. Can I curse on here? I just forgot to ask you about that.
You can. This isn't. You can, but we try to keep it, in the circus, not too crazy.
Okay. PG-13. Okay. So,
yeah, sure.
Shoo! I've been, I've been listening to music. I'm originally from the Soviet Republic of Ukraine, and we had some contraband Stevie Wonder that I've been listening to since I was in the crib. And that's sort of, my dad's a career musician, and that sort of kind of set off my ambition and desire to perform and musically, as I started marketing my music business, kind of fast forwarding to high school and college, I just started picking. At the time, that was MySpace. Things like email marketing was sort of coming to, becoming a viable channel for this sort of thing. So the marketing aspect of what I've been doing, what later turned into a profession. I worked for one of the big four ad agencies, and later for a broadcast, a global broadcast company. The marketing aspect of my career sort of was a side hustle that tools that I had to learn to, in order to sustain my music business. So it's been kind of an interesting journey, and really I don't feel that marketing or advertising and music are at all different. It's sort of a different way to communicate. But in my case, I've been an entrepreneur, and I've also worked corporate, but using all these skills to market my music business, which is I think your audience is trying to do. So let's dive into that.
Yeah, that's absolutely where we're at. We're at the intersection of music, being an entrepreneur, and all of trying to bring together all the skills and everything that somebody needs to run their own business. It's a pretty interesting time to be a musician. You have to wear an infinite amount of hats. There's no more, hey, I'm just going to write songs and be the cool guy on stage. You have to do it all. But real quickly, I want to jump back there to what you were saying. I could almost do an entire show on what you were saying about contraband Stevie Wonder in the Ukraine. Tell me real quickly what it was like growing up in that kind of environment, digging Western music and that kind of thing. I'm just curious from my own,
gosh. I mean, it's it's like, it reminds me of Yakov Smirnoff, in Soviet Russia, you don't listen to music, music listens to you. It's like,
for those of you younger cats, Yakov Smirnoff was a comedian back in the 80s who had a kind of bit parts in movies like The Money Pit and stuff like that. Pretty funny guy, though.
Yeah. So everything is backwards. My family was Jewish growing up in a sort of de facto racist country. So, culturally, you got multiple, levels of repression, right? You have the religious part, then you have the the Western part, right? So all of that, Beatles and Stevie Wonder and Led Zeppelin. I mean, really anything Western, right, was repressed. So you had you have records, right, that were had a label, had a Soviet label on it, some Soviet act, right? But really it was a Western act, right? And that's how it was smuggled in.
So the Beatles the Beatles cover had a hammer and sickle on it there, did it?
Sickle, exactly. Hammer and sickle, right. Or like a cockroach and a cockroach trap. I don't know. But obviously that's something that I was a kid, so I didn't know any better. I just heard really good music that I didn't understand lyrically, but musically it was amazing. It was mind blasting, right? And then you had the Stylagis, which were they'd take X-ray film and basically the modern day equivalent of burning a CD, right? They'd create a record using X-ray film, So it was an interesting time. It was an interesting time, especially for my parents and my grandparents, who had to actively encounter racism and repression, and really couldn't express themselves. Nonetheless, my father did really well for himself. He had an entertainment agency that basically serviced all of Ukraine. And please don't quote me on this because I'm not a topographer, but to service all of Ukraine, that's roughly the size of half of the United States. So
east or west of the Mississippi.
Yeah, I mean it's a very large chunk, right? Let's just call it half of Canada. That's easier to imagine. I don't know if you service Canada or not on this show, but anywho, so when rocks were thrown at my head when I was 4 or 5 years old, I think the decision was it was a foregone conclusion that we had to move, right? So my father, gave up a lot. I mean, he was basically a musical kingpin, and he's the sweetest guy, by the way, not a mafiosi, but he was a musical, he had a huge musical agency, that covered a freaking Soviet country. So he gave up a lot. My parents gave up a lot to move here. But, the first thing that, upon coming here, that he did start a smaller, just one group, and so that's kind of where, him and I are partners today. And we have, we're not an agency, but we do have, several DJs working for us, dancers and obviously musicians and so forth. So, and we service the East Coast, but mainly we're in the Southeast. And that's the Party Express. Shameless plug.
Interesting. You and I need to talk off air a little bit more about that. But one thing I would interject there to all you middle class suburban kids feeling so repressed in suburban America. Y'all don't know repression. I guess not like this guy. You at least get to listen to your music and make your own music. So, before you talk about how hard it is,
Yeah, and hopefully people don't throw rocks at your head.
Hopefully
I know
not.
I'm sure they're getting stoned, but they're definitely not having rocks thrown at their head.
Well played, sir. So, what we wanted to talk today a lot about was about branding, marketing, this kind of thing, which we've covered on other episodes, but we always want to get more opinions. Now, obviously, you come from a totally different background from, say, Scott Robertson, who we've had on the show, who comes from a more U.S. corporate world. You're also from the U.S. corporate world, but on another side with broadcast media and that kind of thing. So, and you've worked with a lot of different areas of the music business, and you still have your own performance act where you're still DJing and that kind of thing, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So when we're talking about emerging artists and how they can create their brand and marketing strategy, again, it's a very, very broad thing, but we wanted to focus a little bit more today on, say, traditional media outlets and that kind of thing. But let's dial it back. For emerging artists, what would you recommend as kind of the first? Which platforms should they be trying to get themselves noticed on? Is it social media? Is it local traditional marketing, print radio, TV, that kind of thing. How do you think artists can get traction basically from the ground up?
Sure. I mean, I think, we need to ask some very basic questions, or rather the people listening, the artists listening to the show, and I don't know what that looks like. Is it a Frank Sinatra impersonator? Obviously they're going to be catering a different demographic. Is it a DJ that's catering, that wants to do more, like high school dances, or a DJ that wants to do bar mitzvahs or weddings and whatnot?
No, the people that are tuning in right now, they're all guys that are in bars, clubs, restaurants, cover bands, original bands. They're all playing, 100-seaters to 1,500-seaters. They're all trying to find a way to make it in the music biz. And these are guys that could be weekend warriors. These are guys that could be touring pros for 10 or 15 years. But the bottom line is these are guys that are trying to make their living doing this. So we want to give them actionable advice.
Sure. Well, okay. So let's take a look at the kind of the realities of the different, let's start with digital platforms, right? So, if you're not marketing to 12 to 25-year-olds, call it, you probably don't need to be on Snapchat, because that's, of all the social media outlets, Snapchat is going to be the youngest, probably arguably the youngest skewing social media platform.
And for you guys doing sex, drugs, and rock and roll out there, you don't need to be blasting that out to 12-year-olds.
Yeah. And,
just saying.
Just saying, right? Full disclosure. And, so Twitter is going to be, I think in my experience, it's going to be largely an urban demographic. So again, depending on the kind of act and who the artist is targeting, that's something to look at. I think Facebook today still, pound for pound, is the kind of the go-to for acts trying to market themselves. And then when we're talking about marketing on Facebook, there's sort of the organic marketing, and then there's going to be paid marketing. And organic is simply just what you just post by yourself. It doesn't cost you anything but your time that you put in it. And then paid is when you actually pay for specific posts to be boosted to, as quote unquote sponsored ads.
Yeah, and there's one thing that I would throw in there. That does not mean paying for robots to try and get you likes. That does not help your quest. Yeah.
I mean, you'll see like was it Fiverr? I don't know if I'm properly pronouncing it, but like you can pay $5 on Fiverr and have basically fake accounts or real accounts that are getting paid to come and like. And look, it gives a nice little boost, and just like any drug, you always need more and more and more. And ultimately, you're not looking just for immediate likes. What you're looking for is long-term engagement, because if you just get that fix right away, it looks cool that you got all these likes, but it doesn't translate into value. And I think that anybody marketing anything, music or otherwise, you have to look at what value are you providing. That really should literally print that out on a piece of paper and put that above your computer monitor somewhere. Like, what value am I providing? And there's different values. There's entertainment value, and that can be subdivided into, am I just, doing something funny? Am I going to post a cat playing a guitar? Is that music related? Yes. And is it funny? Yes. So you kind of, when you put something out there and you're creating entertainment value, you're typically making somebody smile or somebody feel good, or it's an emotional thing. And when you're able to successfully as a marketer to kind of graft your brand onto an emotional experience, you kind of start creeping into somebody's consciousness, and all this probably sounds very Big Brother, but that's just the way marketing works. It's social engineering. And we're all conditioned from a very young age on TV and the younger folks out there, like on the internet, it's the ADA rule, right? It's attention. Can I have your attention? It's interest. Can I interest you in this product? D, do you design? And I'm getting all these, by the way, but from Glenn Ross's fantastic movie that
which, by the way, folks,
should watch.
If you have not seen that movie, Glenn Ross, I'm a salesman by trade myself, although I'm also a musician, although I would say the two are actually the same. Glenn Ross is the shit in terms of sales movies. Go watch that, Wolf of Wall Street, and Boiler Room. Yeah, I know, but I can. It's my show, so we're cool.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah. So D, do you desire what I have to give to you? And A, action. Will you take action? And so we're all, you'll always see a call to action, because marketing that doesn't have a call to action is not marketing. It's just a statement, right? So just a tree of foam.
Whoa, repeat that, because that's one of those. People need to hear this one again.
D for okay. Ada, attention.
No. Marketing without a call to action is just a statement.
It's just a statement. Yeah, there's no...
Very important. What's a call to action, people? Well, it's go sign up now, buy this thing, act now. All those things you see on infomercials, but they work for a reason,
Yeah, buy tickets,
call in.
Exactly. Register now, exactly. And you can actually, Google, literally this, most common calls to action, and that's another thing that you can print out and kind of have as a cheat sheet of when you're closing up your marketing message. What should be there always should be a call to action, and hopefully there's a mechanism for that call for that. If that action is taken, there should be a very well refined mechanism to collect those emails, or to sell your CD, or to sell a concert ticket, or to sign up for an email so that the folks can get it, can get whatever it is that you're selling, and updates on that later. So all these things, very, very important. So, and the product is important too. Like, I think a lot of people think, okay, marketing, advertising, blah, 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 it's just all bullshit. And you got, you could sell anything. Yeah, that's sort of true, but not really. If the product is not good, people will catch on. People are not stupid. I think marketers. No, I'm sorry. We got like 10 seconds left. It's important to remember that your product as an artist is not just your record, and it's not just your video, folks. It is your entire brand, your persona, your image, your music, your videos, everything that's wrapped up in that. So kind of wrap your mind around that. And we'll be back in the next segment. We're going to talk a little bit more about digital marketing with DJ Vlad.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
This is Going to Get Loud, the working musician's ultimate guide to striking a new path through today's music industry. With your host, Paul Nicholas.
All right, folks, welcome back. Happy Tuesday. We are here with DJ Vlad Gorenshteyn. Thanks for joining us. Now, in the last segment, we were talking a little bit about, the Ukraine and sneaking in Stevie Wonders under a Soviet label there. But we were also talking about digital platforms and which ones are going to benefit your band and your brand. Now, question that I had for you, we were talking a little bit about Facebook, we were talking about Instagram and Twitter. What do you think about some of the short video platforms, Snapchat, Vine, even Periscope, Facebook Live? How are you seeing these changing the way that artists in general are marketing themselves? And what are the pros and cons of this kind of platform, this instant engagement platform?
Yeah, I think let's talk about Facebook Live because that's probably the most accessible. And I think Vine, I believe it's going the way of the Dodo bird, and so is Periscope. I don't quote me on that, but yeah. So let's talk about Facebook Live. To be honest with you, I don't want to sound cocky, but within my peers, I'm sort of the one that's kind of pioneering it, and it's been it's been an interesting experience because it raises eyebrows, and it's one of two reactions. One, it's from conservative people like, what the hell, why are you broadcasting yourself being on a toilet? And I'm not saying that's what I broadcast, but being facetious, of course. But and then the second reaction is like, wow,
you were broadcasting us jamming out the other day.
Yeah. Or two, it's like, wow, this is really freaking cool. And I will give you an example. Just yesterday, Sting, I'm in Atlanta. And Sting was in town, and I really wanted to go. I haven't, I've seen a couple of his taped concerts, and I'm a huge fan, from a record standpoint. I've listened to him for years. And I really wanted to go, but it was a Monday. I just got back from a show out of the country, and I was just exhausted, and it was just too much. And literally I had it on my calendar, and it popped up, 7:00. Sting concert, and I'm like, oh man, I'm just so bummed out. I log onto Facebook, and guess what's there? Somebody broadcasting from a Sting concert, and I was so delighted. My reaction was, I was just so happy that, look, I've heard these songs, and even their arrangements weren't anything new. It was kind of like what I saw in his London, one of his tape tours that's on Netflix right now. And I was like, but you know what? It was really cool because he's like a couple miles away from me. And I didn't have to pay for the ticket, so I'm kind of getting this bootleg version of this concert, and it sounds like shit, but it's really exciting. and somebody did me a favor, and then you should have seen me how pissed I got when the connection went awry, and I'm like, no! I was like hitting the TV set like it was the world, it was like the Stanley Cup, and like the over the air that rabbit ears are not working, So that's kind of like, as a consumer, that was kind of cool. But as a producer of content like that, I've had a really good reaction. I've had clients, like either dormant client or like somebody that prospects that were like, they saw the Facebook Live video and they're like, yeah, we need to book you. So it served both as, it was marketing material, and it served both as kind of a dissemination of, hey, here's where I am. I'm performing, and I'm having a really good time, and here's my energy level. But it also helped people move along in the quote unquote sales funnel, right? So for the uninitiated salespeople, the sales process it's a funnel, right? With the biggest kind of diameter at the top, right? What goes
prospects
hopper,
at
right?
one end, sales at the other.
Exactly. So you poop out sales, basically, and so you want to poop out sales as often as possible. And what the prune juice that you need to drink is the marketing material. That's the best I can come up with, Paul.
That's actually a pretty good analogy.
So you want to catalyze the people to go through that funnel as fast as possible. And Facebook Live, I think, is a great catalyst. One, it's for now at least. All these things fade, and I don't know what the next big thing is going to be. But for now, Facebook Live is sort of the live platform where you can be a news channel or a marketing distribution channel for yourself, and it's free, and all it requires, I mean, chances are most of you are already doing shows. And if you're not, then you should be donating your time doing your friend's wedding or something like that so that you can create marketing materials, because think of that as payment, right? You need the stage, and your friend offers you to, hey, I'm having a party, I'm having a celebration, come play. And then you just set the thing down on a tripod, or even just gaff tape it to something, just so there's a decent angle. It doesn't have to be perfect, and the less perfect sometimes the better, because it shows authenticity. And just freaking broadcast it, you know? Obviously, you have to have a level of confidence, and now you're, in what you're doing, but that comes with everything, right? Whether you're marketing apparel, or you're marketing music, or you're marketing a product or service or whatever. So I think actually people that are marketing music, they have it easy because there's always so much content to be acquired, it's just there for the taking. And that just boggles my mind, that people that are just kind of like, well, I don't know where to start. Where do you start? You're running a show. You're already devoting time and resources to creating the quote unquote perfect show. So might as well broadcast it. Why not? What do you have to lose?
Now, what do you say to the people?
Print that out on a piece of paper and put that next to your computer. What do I have to lose?
Well, that I agree with, because, then, you have the attitude of just go in guns blazing. But what would you say to the artists that are constantly screaming at the top of their lungs, don't overexpose yourself, don't play for free, don't give it away, all those kinds of things? Make that paid live performance at the local venue where people are paying $5, $10, $20 a ticket, whatever. Make that the exclusive thing that everyone's clamoring to get into. What do you say to those people when it comes to Facebook Live and all that kind of stuff?
I've been fortunate enough to where I haven't had to do many free shows in my life. That doesn't mean I haven't done them on my own volition or whatever. But let's say if I was starting over and I didn't have the opportunities that I had, I'd be offering myself to, I need the stage. This is my way of life. This is the way I live. I'm sorry. Does that answer the question, or am I misinterpreting what you asked?
Well, there's a lot of people that say you should basically keep your performances scarce, right? Supply and demand. If you don't perform that much, people will be more willing to come pay to see you at the venue. And then there are other people that say, exposure is everything. Just get out there, no matter what it is. Which side do you take in that kind of argument?
I understand. I think you have to approach that question with humility. And while I think everybody that thinks they're an artist, I think that's true. But I don't think, at the same time, I don't think that everybody's a U2, okay? And to make strategic comments like that, to an act that's maybe regional or maybe, bi-coastal or something like that, I think you just... I think it's more of an art than it is a science, and I think you have to be real with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself, and if you're asking questions like this, I think you're at a point where you probably need somebody to help you make decisions like that, either like a A&R or whatever the modern day equivalent of that is, that can help you strategize so you can focus on your music and you can allow others to sort of say, okay, man, here's where you are. This is what it is. And you're not quite U2. You're not a local act, but you're somewhere in the middle. Here's what we need to do. So, I hate to not answer a question directly, but I think that's a loaded question,
No, it's about helping it's about helping people navigate where they are in their career and what the next step is. So say you wanted to help somebody or get somebody to help you with your digital strategy. What would the cost be looking like? What would the what amount of time would they be dedicating to this? Where would you find these people? What's the next step for those folks that are getting some traction? They are doing those, 500 seat sold out shows, that kind of thing.
Right. I think just like with anything, you're going to have different. Okay. So let me just start over. Okay, if I was doing this right, and I did not have the know-how that I have, and I really wanted to blow my act up, and I need to hire somebody because this has got beyond, like, I need to focus on my music, and I just can't handle the strategic marketing and strategery that goes along with that. So what I would probably do, this is going to sound funny, but I'd go to Craigslist and spell it all out. Here's what I'm looking for, and this is what I need. This is where I'm going. And I need somebody to help me. Send me your proposal. And it works. I'll give you an example. Like I told you, I just went on tour. I went to Western Mexico, and the plan was to drive my bus to let's not kid myself. It's an RV. To drive my RV from Atlanta to all the way into Western Mexico, which is like a 36-hour drive, and because of some government bullshit, we got delayed a day and a half. So we basically drove to Houston, only realizing that we're out of time. We got to pack the shit in an airplane and go. So long story short, after everything was done, I flew from Puerto Vallarta to Atlanta, and now my RV is sitting at George Bush International Airport in Houston, right? So I put it out there, like, I need somebody to drive my RV back, and here's what it is. And I have, like, I kid you not, 35 bids sitting in my inbox ready for me to review and allow somebody to do that. And that's just a simple task. So something more complicated, believe it or not, like, people are out there looking at things like Craigslist. You can look at Fiverr. You can look at Elance is another one, Guru.com.
Elance, Upwork purchased that, but that's kind of digital assistants and people all over the world that can do all different types of tasks. But I agree with you. Right. I highly recommend those kinds of things. The only thing, though, is that just like with anything else, you have to do your homework. There are, a million hucksters out there and this kind of thing, but the majority of people are legitimate. You just have to make sure that you do your homework on your end to make sure that they fit your needs, they're legitimate, the scope of your work is properly prepared and all that kind of thing. You can't just tell somebody, hey, I want you to make me look like a star on Facebook. Have a strategy, have a plan, and that brings me conveniently to my next point. What is the best way for, say, an emerging artist who's just getting out there with their new band, their new shows? What's the best way to start planning to get exposure on these different platforms?
Yeah, I think with any endeavor, including marketing endeavors, I think you have to measure what we, in the industry call KPIs, key performance indicators. And so when you're creating your strategy, strategery, however you want to call it, you have to at least loosely define, what does performance look like? What does success look like? Does it mean selling 100 CDs? Does it mean selling 100 tickets at a concert? Like, what does that mean to you? Because if you don't have a goal, like, you can't, what is it that my old boss used to say? You can't measure what you can't. Wait, hold on. I'm having a bit of a brain fart. It's been a little crazy here. Point is, you cannot. If you don't have goals, you cannot measure them. Like, you have to be able to quantify your success. And I think if you don't know what success is, just start somewhere. And then when you get the first metrics in, like, okay, I sold 50, I sold 2,000 CDs. Well, shit, maybe my goal was very low. 100 CDs was clearly the wrong, level of success. So now okay, I'm capable of selling 2,000 CDs. Let's shoot for 2,500 CDs at the next show, or whatever that is. Or maybe I want to collect, 50 emails so that I can have this database of people that I can market when the time is right, when the product is ready, when my music is ready. Or when I, sign up a new show. So there's everything. You have to look at things as assets. Somebody's email address is an asset. Your email database is an asset, right? Your, an
asset being a currency like money, folks. Every single bit of that is something that is going to, that asset's going to help build your brand and increase essentially your net worth.
Exactly. So I think, you start by building these KPIs, key performance indicators, and then it sort of equalizes. And really, when you're putting a bid out there for, hey, I need a marketing guru, the market, what do you pay them? Well, it's whatever the market will bear, So if you have somebody that's willing to work for, $25 an hour, and you see that, two, three good qualified people, you look at their portfolio that's really good, and they're all saying, $25 to $30. That's kind of what the market is, right? It's just, Well,
again, do your homework and get the best deal that you can. We're going to be back in the next segment with DJ Vlad Gorenshteyn, the digital marketing guru, and a good all-around performer. We'll be right back, folks, on this awesome Tuesday. Stick around.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element. Affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is going to get loud. The working musician's ultimate guide to striking a new path through today's music industry. With your host, Paul Nicholas.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We have Vlad Gorenshteyn here. We're talking digital marketing, branding, and marketing in general. I wanted to talk a little bit about content in this segment. What content generates the most engagement? So we were talking about Facebook Live in the last segment. So let's start there. Is it just an artist sitting down and doing or perform? You see so many people doing the new thing is sitting down in a Guitar Center and grabbing a guitar that's worth more than your car and jamming out a performance that way. What content generates the most engagement? Because it's all about engagement.
Yeah. That's an interesting question. Well, going back to, and by the way, I apologize for the earlier smelly brain fart that I had. I remembered what my old boss used to say, and that is, I can't manage what I cannot measure. That was the saying. And it was just going back to metrics and stuff like that and setting goals for yourself, stuff you need to measure and kind of look back on in postmortem. But as far as visual media goes, yeah, I think that, when you look at, so you have text, we have audio, and we have video when creating content. And in today's noisy world, visual media is definitely going to be the way to go. And so the question is, what kind of content is performs best? So I think you need to ask what performance and what success looks like to you. After you answer that question, I think the type of content that works is going to be exciting content, stuff that like raises eyebrows, or make somebody be like, oh, yeah, you say, so like, this is really cool, you know?
Now, are you talking Miley Cyrus kind of antics or what? Because that raises eyebrows.
You mean like
but
humping,
does
like
that
humping, what's his name?
No, what was the stupid thing she did in her new music videos, like dressing up like an infant or something, and people are saying it's sexualizing children. Just a nasty territory we're not going to get into, but that that kind of shock value. Now, is it that kind of thing or
shock
what?
Is good. I think shock is great. I mean, I think sitting down at okay, let me just go through a scenario here. So you have a friend with a phone, follow you into a Guitar Center, and let's say you're wildly talented. And so basically you're walking into a Guitar Center and you're about to sit down and next to unsuspecting like noodlers, right? And just totally jam out. I mean, that has a lot of shock value. And it's funny, it's entertaining, it's musical, So yeah, so something like that, I think that would work. I mean, ultimately, it's up to the market. So like
Van Halen walking up beside somebody, jamming out at the PV Racket Guitar Center and just ripping off, a 2-minute solo in their face.
Sure,
okay.
But not everybody's Van Halen. But I think you have a lot of people listening to this show that are compared to the average noodler at Guitar Center, who's wildly talented, and why not show off? This is where you're not, where you don't want to be humble. This is where you go and you just go, and do your thing. Or maybe you're doing, some charity event or something like that. Why not broadcast that and, show that you have a heart. You don't only love music, but you love to help people. I don't think I could write. I think you'd have to give me an example of the type of artist this is and what is their demographic and what are their special talents and, how,
well, I mean,
what is their uniqueness in the market, for me to like write a scenario of what a good post would look like.
The one thing that I always recommend to artists when they ask, what should we do to start learning how to engage our fans? We have a record, we kind of know who our fans are, but we don't really know what strikes the biggest chord. Now I say, guys, look, at the end of the day, if you don't know, you can spray and pray. Try a bunch of different things, but do it in such a way that you're making thoughtful notes and you're thoughtfully recording the reactions to all of these things, the metrics, the likes, the retweets, whatever. But the buzz that it's generating, it shows in the real world as well. And then, obviously, I mean, like the scientific method, you test a bunch of different theories, you take the best one, and then you start doing variations of that one. You take the best variation of that, and you keep refining and refining and refining. It may sound boring and it may sound scientific, but guys, you're running a business here. You're out to make money so that you can keep doing your craft, right? If you want to just mess around, that's great. But if you really, really, really want to build your business, build your engagement, your fan base, people listening to you, people paying attention to you, and ultimately buying more T-shirts and tickets, this is what you have to do. But make it fun. It's always about being yourself. Never try to be something that you're not, particularly when you're an artist. Fans can always, the public can always sniff out someone who is disingenuous, someone who is not authentic. And that's why I think even for somebody like Miley Cyrus, it actually works because she actually is that messed up.
Yep.
It's kind of hard to fake sucking that much. So, in her case, I don't really think it's an act.
Yeah, and I'm all for authenticity, and I think people that know me, they'll say Vlad is freaking crazy, but that's him. He's authentic, and there's nothing. My eyebrows may raise when I see what he posts, but it's not a surprise in the sense that, like, yeah, of course he would come up with something like that, but I'm gonna provide a counterpoint to that, and I think that there's a lot of artists that are shy, and for whatever reason, and I think that being their authentic shy self is not necessarily beneficial to them unless they have a good impresario or A&R and whatever, or like so a partner, a friend, or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever that helps them be that kind of yin to the yang and yang to the yin, right? But if you are truly a starving artist and you don't have friends and you're shy, that discomfort is going to be uncomfortable. But it's also going to be your area of growth. either that or you need to find some friends and partners that maybe, you exchange services. Hey, you play for them, but they provide marketing services for you, or maybe you get some money and like go on, guru.com or whatever outlet and hire somebody to help you. The point is that if you can't help yourself, yeah. Because I have a particular friend in the film industry, and he knows who he is. Probably not listening to this podcast, but he has a really hard time marketing his work. He thinks it's selling out. He thinks it's disingenuous. It's just not him. And I have to give them the lesson of, hey, no, you do need to sell yourself. Otherwise, how the hell are you going to pay your mortgage? And because this is the only thing you're doing, you have nothing else going for you, and you're really talented, but you don't want to be the tree that fell in the forest. And so either allow me to help you or do it yourself. And finally, he's helped himself, and I'm really proud of him for doing that. But it was a very steep learning curve for him, and he's on the shy side. So I totally get it. Not everybody's outgoing, and that's okay. That's okay. It doesn't mean that it's a dead end for you. It's just an area of growth. Just like being quiet for me is an area of growth. I cannot be quiet, and conversely, you cannot be loud, so it's okay. All right.
Well, and so and yes, you're correct. There's a lot of artists that I meet that are that shy butterfly kind of thing. And the one thing that I would add to what you're saying is that you have to be your own biggest champion. If you are not, nobody else is going to be it for you. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be this obnoxious kind of loudmouth. There are a lot of people that have worked the kind of shy, mysterious angle quite well. Case in point would be Prince. I mean, nobody had more mystery than that dude. But unless you're Prince, Michael Jackson, okay, yeah, perfect example, another one there. But unless you're those guys, you got to get out there and you got to do your thing. But like you said, identify your areas of growth. Partner up with the people that can help you do those things. Get out of your comfort zone. Maybe just go to somebody else's show and just start meeting people, talking to people. Give the band some love. Oh, hey, I'd like to do a show with you. Hey, talk to their fans, whatever.
Yeah, maybe. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if you have some cronies in the industry, and maybe they're doing the Facebook Live thing, shit, go jam with them. Go jam with them when they're doing the live thing, and Facebook Live or whatever they're doing, and just be a part of that. I mean, I think the hip hop community is sort of really, really good at the whole collab thing, the collaboration, right? You have a lot of artists featured on other people's albums,
yeah, they
and
are.
stuff like that. and by extension, if you take that sort of principle and apply it to whether you're in rock or bluegrass or whatever genre that you're in, what is to say that you cannot go and sort of do that same analog, but just in your genre? Why not? And then you get a cool jam session out of it, and two, there's a record of it, and then you can post it or repost it from your friends, Facebook page and whatnot, and that becomes marketing material. And you didn't have to do much; you just showed up, and they were doing the work.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool point. And it's something that I know, like the hip hop community, like you said, is all about collaboration. It's 100%. It's almost too much collaboration in my estimation. But the people that are doing other genres, world, jazz, rock, pop, country, whatever, I think that there's room for improvement on the collaboration standpoint. You're seeing a lot more of that these days, especially with the larger celebrities. But I think at the lower level of the game, I think that that's something that would really help broaden people's horizons. I know that it would for me as well. I didn't really get into that much but not only does it help from a growth standpoint as a musician, but from a content standpoint with Facebook Live and all these kinds of things, I think it's huge. And people like seeing a cool fish out of water kind of thing. So if you're, some kind of pretty girl mandolin player and you do some sweet country stuff, mix it up with somebody that's totally outside of your comfort zone, you'll probably be surprised at not only the cool musical jams that come out of it, but the type of people that are watching it. And now you're exposing yourself to a completely different audience, whatever it is,
I mean, Yeah, I think if you look at Beyonce, right? Didn't she perform at the CMAs or something, like with the country music award or something like that? Am I saying that? Is that accurate?
That I would have to go and fact check.
Googling it as we speak.
I don't follow Beyonce that much. I got to be honest.
Well, I do, but not enough to know where she performed. But it was something to that extent, to where you had a traditionally R&B hip hop artist cross over into country, which is, in my memory, it's sort of unheard of. But it's really smart. And yeah, I think I agree with Paul, like, wholeheartedly. Like, to, if you can't find somebody in your genre, go mix it up. I mean, go collaborate with a hip hop. Hip hop folks love to sample new sounds, and maybe you can be that new sound and open yourself up to a whole audience that you didn't even know you could, like, that even appreciated you, and you can use that to augment your existing audience base and your existing email database and Facebook, and get that cross pollination. And then musically, I agree with Paul. Yeah, I think it may infuse some really interesting energy into your soul, and then that will spill out into your music as well. So I can't agree more.
I can tell you the one thing that I've done as a musician over the years, and I got to be honest, I still need to branch out quite a bit. I mean, there's so much out there, and I've done everything from being a jazz drummer and combos to orchestral percussion to rock bands and everything in between, symphony even. But as an artist, you have writing exercises that you do. Try something that's completely outside of your comfort zone. But when it comes to digital marketing, do the same thing. Try something completely outside of your comfort zone, something that you think is not you. You're playing a character sometimes, and on stage, sometimes you're playing a character as well, depending on what kind of artist you are. But the point is that when you push yourself and you stretch yourself, just like working out in the gym, you're forced to grow. It's never a bad thing. When it comes to marketing, try a lot of different things. Dress up crazy and go somewhere. Do something different. Meet somebody. Get your ass out there. Don't do the old sitting in my kitchen playing my acoustic guitar on a Sunday night with a bunch of empty beer bottles around me. Woe is me. That's half-assing it. Strive to do something different for yourself and for your audience. I think you're going to be amazed at not only what comes out of it for you, but your audience is going to appreciate that quite a bit more. I mean, would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. I think with any creative endeavor, when I can't sit at my home office, I go to Starbucks. When I can't sit at Starbucks, I go to my office. When I can't sit in my office, I go to my bedroom. Like, when I can't sit there, I go jam with my friends. Like, it just, sometimes you need to change your environment, because the environment inherently is either too dark energetically or physically too dark or too bright. Like, it's like the older I get, the more I sort of start using the word energy and and like chi and stuff like what I thought before was like esoteric crap. Now I really see it, because like like when a really just sad person comes into your life and it kind of like drags you down. Sometimes you need that to write a song or to give you perspective. But you also, conversely, when somebody bright walks into your room and then all of a sudden, like, you're riffing with them. It's interesting. On this trip, we were talking about energy and how, from a physics standpoint, when you put two speakers side by side, they actually are not double the sound. They actually are multiple of that. It's just the way that physics works, and sound waves amplify. It's the same way with energy. That's when two really creative people get together, they have extraordinary ideas, far and beyond what the two of them could have put together. It's the same way with misery. That's the saying, misery loves company, is because it amplifies to such, it just gets really, really freaking nasty, And so it's just energy amplifies,
And that's exactly what I'm going to have to wrap it up on there. I could talk to Vlad Gorenshteyn all day here, but that is absolutely what we're talking about here. Getting out there, getting out of your comfort zone, doing something new, changing your surroundings, making things better for yourself. Push yourself. We'll be back next week, folks. Stick around. It's going to get loud as well. We'll see you next Tuesday from 4 to 5.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording number one hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.